Hey guys, it's Rusty here, and today we're going to do a deck tech on my favorite deck in Star Wars Destiny right now, and that is Jabba the Hutt and Unkar Plutt. First off, I'd like to apologize for calling him Unkar Platt for the last 2 weeks on all of our playthrough videos. I just zoomed into the card and saw the U, and yeah, it is what it is. So this deck's really fun to play. It is a control deck in the purest sense of the word. Neither of our characters have any damage sides, and only one of our upgrades has a damage side, and it's a modified damage side. So we cannot deal any damage to our opponents. So our game plan is to win through milling all of our opponent's cards. That means getting rid of all the cards in their deck and their hand, or by crime lording all of their characters. So again, I said this is a control deck. We want to control our opponent's resources, their dice, and then attack the cards in their hand. It's really important that you control your opponent's resources because this deck can deal with 3 or 4 character dice. Like we can mitigate 3 or 4 dice. We can take some hits off 3 or 4 dice. We can't mitigate 6 or 7 upgrade dice and character dice. So first we'll talk about battlefield. I chose the Gunga battlefield because it doesn't help our opponents at all. They can claim this all they want. We're not dealing any damage. So this battlefield does nothing for them, but it does help us. Our games are going to go long. We're control. We're slow. We are more than likely going to claim more than twice in a game, which means we can heal more from Gunga than we could from taking their battlefield to get shields. And generally, people bring battlefields that are good with their decks, so we don't want to help our opponent out. So let's go ahead and have a look at our event-based control. Alright, so we are bringing every piece of yellow event-based removal we have access to except for reversal. Electroshock, one of the best cards in the game, 1/4 portion, is essentially a reprint. He doesn't like you. I mean, 0 cost removal, just fantastic. Unpredictable can be a band-aid. It doesn't get rid of the die, but if, say, Vader rolls a 3, I'm okay rolling unpredictable for the 2 and 3 chance that it doesn't do any damage. Yes, he can discard to re-roll that die, but we're okay with that because that essentially means that unpredictable says 66% of the time don't take damage and mill your opponent for 1. I dig that. Confiscation, man, so often on Tabletop Simulator people have to step back and read this card and go, what in the world does this card do? This is a valuable card for our deck because we control our opponent's resources, and if a smart opponent will claim early and play a 2-cost upgrade and then roll in, so we don't even get a chance to disrupt their resources. This gives us an out there. Also, cards like Vibroblade are a real problem for this deck because we rely on shields to win. So you can discard all the cards from an opponent's hand, use Confiscation as mitigation, and then discard that card too. So it's kind of just a reset button that is also event-based mitigation in a pinch. So let's move over to upgrades next. All right. So Fast Hands, just a fantastic card. Fast Hands on Jabba can just absolutely shut your opponent down. You roll in Jabba, re-roll until you get a disrupt their resources, and you pretty much reset their whole turn. You claim early, and you do it again over and over and over, and they don't get to play anything. Or, worst case scenario, you just attack their hand for 2 with a 2 discard, which is great. On the Hunt, that is repeatable removal. Between all of our rerolls from Jabba and all of our focus, this is an Electroshock every other turn, which is just fantastic. The games are going to go long. 12 pieces of event-based removal is just not enough, so we're gonna run on the Hunt as well. Con Artist is great. Our deck deals damage by getting rid of cards, which means unless our opponent is drawing cards, we are capped at dealing 5 damage a turn. Con Artist gets around that by discarding cards from their deck, not their hand. The disrupt sides on it are also great, and he has a discard side. So most of the time, 5 out of 6 of the times, you're happy to see anything that Con Artist rolls, and it only costs 2. Next we get a Personal Shield. Man, this card is so good for what we're doing. It's a complete hoser for ranged decks. Shields help us stay alive, and that 2 and 3 value side are just great with Unkar's ability. Love me some Personal Shield. Blackmail is a very cool card. We are a discard deck, and it's got 2 discard sides, a 2 and a 3. It's got Disrupt as well, and it's got Shields. This card is doing everything we want to do in our game plan. And the drawback isn't even that big of a drawback because, again, we are controlling our opponent's resources first. So a lot of times they can't even pay for Blackmail. And oh yeah, we're running fast hands. We control our own triggers. We put the fast hand trigger in the queue first, and we get to resolve Blackmail with the fast hand trigger before they get a chance to pay for it. And that makes our opponents very salty. This next card is Prized Possession. I'm kind of torn on this card. It was Datapad. It should probably be Datapad. But we have a lot of money, and we are controlling our opponent's resources, so they don't have that many upgrades. So Prized Possession gives us an opportunity to mitigate their character dice. Not sold on it yet, but I think it has potential. Let's move over to our supports. We run Infamous because sometimes our opponent is going to put Wingman on 2 characters and then roll in 3 characters at one time with upgrades, and we need the ability to go 1/4 portion, tap Infamous, he doesn't like you. Or maybe we have a focus side showing, or maybe we're just in a bad spot and we go Infamous, Ace in the Hole, Crime Lord. We'll get to that in a second. Salvage Stand, this is a great card. You want to see it early. It goes in, it's 0 cost, so there's a very low penalty for running this card. And it really plays in well with our game plan of attacking our opponent's resources and denying them resources. Unkar has 2 sides that show resources, so more times than not, Salvage Stand is going to trigger, and it's just fantastic. When you have fast hands on Jabba and a Salvage Stand out, you roll in Jabba, hit a resource, disrupt one of their resources, re-roll that resource into a disrupt, then fast hand it, and you've gotten rid of 3 of their resources in one turn. Alright, last we've got the Boogieman that everyone was excited about. Yes, it's Ace in the Hole, Crime Lord, and yes, you can Ace in the Hole, Crime Lord someone on turn 1. I've done it exactly 1 time in probably 40 games. It's cool, it's memorable when it happens, but I don't even keep either of these cards in my opening hand. The chances of getting both of these cards in your opener, rolling the right damage sides, or the right dice with Unkar and Jabba, hitting a 3-cost upgrade from their hand, and then being able to Ace and Hole and roll the 1 and 3, and they don't have mitigation. There's just so many ifs in there. I mean, yeah, it's cool. I hit a Vader on turn 1, and my opponent scooped up and said you win. That's cool, but we really run this as an out against very specific decks. Poe Maz, if you hit Poe, you win. Vader Raider, if you hit Vader, you probably win. And obviously Palpatine, if you Crime Lord Palpatine, you win the game. And Palpatine can be a tough matchup because you don't really want to go long against someone that can deal 2 damage, or it can deal 4 damage to you no matter what he rolls on his dice. Not to mention his dice do a lot of damage, so you need Crime Lord and Ace in the Hole for those matchups. So that's it for this deck. The deck list is posted in the comments below. Or you can have a look at the screenshot. It's a lot of fun. I do think it is a tier 2 list. I don't think it's, it can't beat Vader Raider. And if a list can't beat Vader Raider, I don't think it's tier 1. But it does really well otherwise. Leave me some comments below and I'll do my best to answer any questions. And I've got a couple of gameplay videos. Thanks for watching.